are you doing today?
Hey, doing great. Doing foggy, but great. So, give us your synopsis, if you could, of the debate last night.
I thought it was a good debate. I thought that there could have been a whole lot more give and take, a lot more allowing the candidates to be able to discuss the issues one-on-one rather than moderation. And so I wish that would have happened. It didn't happen. I think when you have these kind of debates where you have these media people asking questions and you have a specific sequence to go into, it just doesn't.
Yeah, we're hearing a little feedback there, Steve.
Okay.
But continue on. All right.
Okay.
Let's...
I'm sorry. You there?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay. I'm sorry. And so as I was mentioning, I think that it could have been better from that standpoint to allow the candidates to just kind of mix it up. And I've seen it before. You've seen it before. It didn't happen. And so as a result, I think that we got a sort of I guess a real managed debate, which I don't think when you only have one debate, that's not really good.
It should have been more of a free-for-all then.
Yeah, sure. Kind of like we have here on your radio show.
Right. Well, hey, I agree. I agree with you. And it was, I think the viewers lost that wasn't an opportunity. Any change? Of course, we've had the issue of the billing controversy about Bill Cassidy. Do you see that as having an impact?
Yeah, I do see it having an impact. I do. I think that, will it have an impact enough for Mary Landrieu to pick up, say, anywhere from 10 to 20 points? I doubt that, but I'm disappointed. I really am disappointed. I'm disappointed in Congressman and probably soon to be elected Bill Cassidy, soon to be elected U.S. Senator Bill Cassidy. I think that there are legitimate questions with this billing thing. I wrote about it yesterday. I'll be writing about it later today. And I think there's some legitimate questions. It doesn't mean to disqualify him as a candidate or as a U.S. Senator, but I think there's some really legitimate questions that are being raised. And,
he said he did nothing wrong, Steve.
Oh, I understand that. Of course, he said that, and so. But if you look at the documents that at least I put on my website, BayouBuzz.com, the others have placed on their website. And just the analysis of that information,
right?
Then I think that there are some legitimate questions that ought to be answered. And let me just say this: when I first got involved with this last week after the story broke, I basically I looked at this and with I think in hope an open mind. And then some people on my Facebook page mentioned the Facebook group Louisiana Politics mentioned that hey, what about Mary Landrieu? What about her documents?
Hang on, let's get into that when we come back. I'll take a brief time out. More Steve Sabludowski right after this.
WGSO 990 AM, serving New Orleans, Louisiana for 60 years with the American way.
This is the Blaze Radio News. I'm John DeMaster. There's word that the wife and child of the ISIS leader have been captured. The Blaze Radio's Robin will...
We'll be back shortly, so just hang on.
Okay.
Thanks.
Daddy, well, his whereabouts unknown, but one of his wives turning up using a fake passport as she heads from Syria into Lebanon.
More on the fight against ISIS, as there are reports that an Iranian jet's been seen attacking terrorist targets in Iraq. There's video footage of the F-4 Phantoms shown bombing ISIS positions. The Obama administration denying that it's coordinating with Iran's military against the terrorists. Former ambassador to the United States, John Bolton, on Fox News.
It's possible. I think the Obama administration would love to see it because of their larger desire to conclude a deal with Iran on the nuclear weapons program. But it's not evident from this report alone.
This is news on the Blaze Radio Network.
Everyone is making the switch to the Blaze to make it their source for the truth. Why not make it your source for the truth? Make theblaze.com your homepage for news that the other outlets won't even touch. Subscribe to The Blaze TV at theblaze.com/TV or on Dish Network and get access to original programming like For the Record, the show that exposes what's really going on that the government doesn't want you to know. And Real News, the daily conversation on the topics of the day that matter most. Check out the Blaze Radio Network at theblaze.com/radio with original shows like Buck Sexton, The Morning Blaze with Doc Thompson, Pat and Stu, and Jay Severin. Or, if you need something to hold in your hands, subscribe to the Blaze magazine. So basically, anywhere you need to go, you can take the truth with you by taking the Blaze with you. This is the Blaze. Truth lives here. So just to recap, anywhere you need to go, you can take the truth with you by taking the Blaze with you. Find out all the ways at theblaze.com.
On Capitol Hill, Homeland Security Secretary Jay Johnson defending executive actions to shield millions of illegal immigrants from deportation. In a U.S. House hearing, Johnson saying the president's actions are modest, common sense moves. House Republicans not happy. Texas Republican Mike McCall, who chairs the House Homeland Security Committee, slamming the executive actions, calling it unilateral amnesty. A desperate Louisiana Democrat tries to attack her GOP opponent in their only debate before a Saturday Senate runoff election. Here's the Blaze Radio's Chris Barnes in Washington.
The three-term incumbent Senate Democrat Mary Landrieu accusing her opponent, Republican Congressman Bill Cassidy, of bilking taxpayers in his government-funded medical teaching job.
There's absolutely no record of the work that he's done.
Cassidy noting he provides care to the poor and uninsured, saying he did nothing improper. Then the moderator turning the tables on Landrieu, pressing her about the high cost of charter air flights she's taken over the years, including a 200-miler that cost taxpayers $5,500.
I think in most businesses, people would have been laughed out of the room if they had suggested having that kind of expense charged to a company.
Landrieu denying that was the cost. She says it was a bookkeeping error.
Kenya's president announcing a security shakeup after ISIS terrorists kill 36 quarry workers. He's fired his interior minister, accepting the resignation of the national police chief. Congress making it harder for the president to close Gitmo. The Blaze Radio's Tom Peace reports.
Congress is getting in the way of President Obama's plan to close down the prison camp at Gitmo. Lawmakers leaving out a plan to shut down the facility from an annual defense authorization bill. Michigan Democrat Senator Carl Levin says the final version of the bill will not allow Obama to transfer Gitmo detainees to the U.S., the president promising to shut down the prison since entering the White House in early 2009, but facing resistance from Congress.
This is news on the Blaze Radio Network. Truth lives here.
Another foggy start, and the fog patches are particularly dense this morning. The advisories in effect for the dense fog till about 8 o'clock or so. Patches of it really thick with much reduced visibilities. Allow extra time and also allow extra distance in front of you for the morning commute. Through the morning, things improve, and through the day, it's partly cloudy skies. By afternoon, the highs spot the mid-70s. Patches of fog returning early in the morning, 50s. 70s tomorrow with a partly cloudy afternoon Wednesday. All fun activity with a Christmas theme all day. It's Miracle on Washington, Beauregard Parish's annual Christmas festival in historic downtown DeRidder. Saturday, December 6th, 10 a.m. till 6 p.m. 1-800-738-5534.
It's Danielle from American Pickers. Mike and Frank are headed to Louisiana and Mississippi, and I can use your help finding private collections. So if you know anyone with great stuff, call us at 1-855-OLD-RUSS.
Hey, we're back. Jeff Crouere here, and joined by Ringside All-Star, who checks in with us on Tuesdays, publisher of ValueBuzz.com, Steve Sabaldowski. You can check out the interview at WGSO.com. Of course, download the TuneIn app and follow us on the mobile device. Also, of course, on the airways, 990 AM. Also, you can listen in at ValueBuzz.com and follow our Google Hangout, where you can see a video of our interview. And, of course, we thank Steve Sabaldowski for being with us. And, Steve, a lot of folks want to chime in. Any comments? I know we had to roll to a break, and you were in the midst of giving us some of your reasons about why you think this billing scandal is a big deal for Bill Cassidy.
Well, okay, first of all, yeah, I do want to comment and to say, first of all, let's look at the Maryland billing records. I think it's pitiful what happened. I do. When this was when the issue was raised by Bill Cassidy in his records, I put that up on my Facebook page, Louisiana Politics, and immediately I started getting responses such as, "Well, what about Mary Landrieu's records and the records she has not revealed? What about those records?" And you know, quite frankly, it was the first time. I mean, I kept track of that. I thought she had disclosed everything. When I found out that she didn't disclose everything, then immediately I said, "Hey, you know, that's not right. You know, if anything, you really ought to disclose." And so I wrote a column about that. I wrote it again yesterday, and I've mentioned it quite a number of times. And so. Yeah, she apparently, I believe she did disclose everything yesterday. The records that she provided yesterday, as I understand, were records that were prior to a 2002 change by the Senate rules. So, you know, what she did, or what her office did, because I don't know whether or not she did or not. That is an uncertainty, and I think that, you know, we should find out. I think this question should be asked about that. You know, what did she know and when did she know it? That's a legitimate question to ask. She paid, as I understand, about $40,000 paid back. And I think that that's a legitimate thing for her to have done. But what did she know? She had a number of chiefs of staffs chiefs of staff during this, say, 14 or 12 years from 2002 on, and so, who was involved in that process? Again, legitimate questions. We don't know whether or not, to what extent Mary Landrieu was involved. The fact that she paid, I think she owned up to her office being at fault, and she has taken a responsibility for it. Okay, now,
well,
let's okay. Yeah. So I think there are legitimate questions, and I think questions need to be asked.
We know that there was some wrongdoing. Right.
Oh, there was definitely wrongdoing. Now, wrongdoing in what? It was an ethical violation, as I understand it. There was a violation of House rules. Keep in mind that, okay, I mean the Senate rules. Keep in mind the way this thing works is that it's based upon the primary reason for the travel. Okay, and a lot of times that is going to be a subjective test. Okay, what's the primary reason? Why did that person go from A to B?
But any kind of political campaigning, fundraising, that shouldn't be charged to the taxpayers.
No, I don't think it should. I don't think it should.
So she screwed up big time.
I think she did. Now, what law did she break? Okay, what law did the campaign break? What law did the office break? That's a question. I think that the office violated the rules, and those rules are somewhat subjective. Okay, like you can have something going on. If I'm an official and I go to Shreveport and I'm doing I'm doing a campaign event, but I'm also doing things related to the administration of my office. It gets into some gray areas that I think Bobby Jindal has tried to take advantage of with his own.
Okay. Now let me bring up one other issue. Then we have a full call board. Folks want to chime in, want to get the calls in. But the other issue was broken this morning on this show by State Senator Elbert Guillory coming on and playing for our listeners the audio clip of the mayor of Opelousas encouraging folks to early vote, to vote again on Election Day, to break the law. And then he's saying, don't worry about it. We'll have the DA. He won't do anything about it. Take care of it by electing this DA who's, I guess, going to look the other way and not prosecute you. That's a Landrieu supporter advocating voter fraud. Guillory said on this program he believes 10% of Landrieu's votes are fraudulent. And I asked him if the vote was fair in the last election, would she have won? He said no. So he's issuing the clarion call for folks to be on guard against voter fraud. And you got the evidence here of at least an elected official encouraging it. Your thoughts?
Okay, well, I haven't finished talking about the Cassidy records. I went into a lot of detail about the Mary Landrieu records. So, I'd like to at least go and talk about the other.
All right,
before talking about,
Yeah, just answer the question about this, and then quickly, I mean, the Cassidy records, we talked about it for days now, but this thing just came up today, and I don't see any other media outlets talking about it.
Came up yesterday. Well, I put it up on Bayou Buzz, so, I
mean, has it been talked about on TV? Has it been talked about on the radio? Have the national websites picked it up? I mean, this is a national scandal. I mean, a Landrieu supporter advocating voter fraud.
Can I respond to about the Cassidy thing first? Okay, thanks. I think what you have with the Cassidy records are, in 2009, when he got elected, he got into this arrangement with the LSU Health Science Center, and to do continuing work. Now, keep in mind, there aren't too many Congress people who are doing this dual work at all.
Right.
I think there are 2 people. 2 doctors. So he continued his work, and the records show that the people at LSU were extremely concerned about this documentation. Okay, extremely concerned about the documentation, the kind of work that he was going to do. So already, he is told, hey, we're concerned about this. So they made an arrangement to do 30 hours worth of work a month. Not a whole lot, but to receive $20,000 in pay, plus to receive other benefits. Okay, so now he then gets a House approval of that work. The House approval actually was retroactive, meaning we approve what you have done. What he personally told the House was that he was doing 16 hours.
Right.
Okay, a month. Not 30 hours a month. We don't know if that would have been approved or not. 16 hours a month. And the House said, if you go and we want an update on this for further approval every year afterwards. Okay, we don't know if he got that approval to do that work. Okay, that's number one. Number two, assuming that it's okay, he did the work. Assuming that,
right?
Then the question is, what work did he do? If you look at the records, based upon the concerns LSU had about this, if you look at the records, there is no work that he has performed.
All right, let me ask you this: why was LSU paying him if he wasn't doing the work?
Good question.
Isn't that a question for LSU?
Oh yeah, sure it is. And too bad LSU can't find his records. But it's certainly a question for Bill Cassidy too. Let's put politics aside, okay?
Yeah.
Mary Landrieu really messed up, and for a lot of reasons, her voting record and a lot of other things, she probably
her campaign flight, charging it to the taxpayers.
Exactly.
That could be law breaking right there.
It could be, and if she did break the law, I know
the Cassidy
no law.
thing. I think we need to learn more information. I think we need to hear from LSU.
Wait, he won't talk about it. Okay, the media were there during the debate. He rushed out. He rushed out of the debates. I've been to a lot of debates. Where and they come and they talk and they answer questions.
Right.
He didn't do that. Okay. In addition to that, he says, well, look, my supervisor has talked about this, on multiple occasions.
Right.
Well, I saw what the supervisor said. Okay, and this person that he's referring to, I believe, and this is what I'm writing my column about. Okay, and if the Cassidy people listen to this, please provide the information to me. But the person they're referring to was not the supervisor at the time that he did any of this work.
So we
have no records at all.
Okay.
The records we have are post-dated, without any contemporaneous data, notes, or anything of that nature.
Just like it took Landrieu months to provide the flight records. You said she just released it this week.
Yeah, but no.
She released the records.
No, she released them. But these are records that he has in his control on his computer, his emails, to show what he said to the different people that he allegedly supervised. Okay.
And wouldn't LSU have the records?
No, not necessarily. I mean, if he emailed his employees, his doctors, etc. Okay, those were his records. If he did communicated with people about the work that he was doing while he was in Washington D.C., okay, those are his records. Okay, he could easily just put a close to all this, and he would continue.
Yeah, hey, I agree. He should release everything he's got.
Yeah, and that is all I'm saying.
LSU should release all of it. But let's get back. Let's get back to what I brought up 10 minutes ago.
Sure,
you wouldn't
that's
talk about.
fine. Since
You wouldn't talk about an elected official, a Landrieu supporter, a Democrat, encouraging folks to break the law, encouraging people to vote twice. That to me is a massive scandal. I want to know what you think about that.
Okay, I received the information yesterday from the Black Conservative Fund immediately, because I knew it was coming anyway. Okay,
right.
And so I listened to it. I watched it, and I will say that I listened to it because there wasn't anything really to watch initially.
It's just a blurred video, right?
A blurred video. Okay, and the first thing I got to tell you, the very first thing that struck me was, this guy, meaning the mayor of Opelousas, was joking to a crowd of people stupidly.
You don't joke about that. You don't joke about that.
Well, no,
that's not something that you joke about, and that's what he's going to say. Obviously, is an excuse.
No, I'm just saying what my impression was.
All right, hang on, Steve. We got to roll to a break. We'll come back and finally get these calls in. 504-556-9696. Jeff Correa here. Steve Sabadowski with us. It's WGSO.
My name is Peter Strasser. I was an assistant United States attorney for 18 years. During my time at the U.S. Attorney's Office, I knew Warren Montgomery very well. I did felony criminal trials with him. It's because I know Warren so well and because I've worked with him so closely on anti-corruption cases that I know this flyer that I just recently saw that came in the mail that said Warren Montgomery is a friend to illegals who breaks their laws. This flyer is nothing but pathetic garbage.
Please vote for me, Warren Montgomery, for district attorney.
Paid for by the Warren Montgomery campaign.
Katie's Restaurant, open 7 days a week, located at 3701 Iberville, just a block off the Canal Street streetcar line. Rated #1 neighborhood restaurant by Gambit and New Orleans Magazine, also featured on Food Network's Diners, Drive-Ins, and Diners. Serving the best in New Orleans Creole cuisine, from fresh Louisiana seafood to gourmet po' boys, pizzas from the Brooklyn-style Stone Pizza Oven, featuring daily specials for lunch and dinner, and a Sunday brunch that'll make the angels sing. Let Katie's cater your next event. Call 488-6582. Check out our menu online at katie'satmidcity.com.
There is a new social media site similar to Facebook that costs $9,000 to join and another $3,000 per year to remain a member. It is advertising itself as a service, quote, for people with more money than time. No word yet on how many people have joined. Money and time are two of our largest responsibilities as stewards of the gifts of God. Regardless of how much of either we have, God expects us to use them both, along with our talents and abilities, in ways that bring glory and honor to Him. That's what Christian stewardship is all about. And this is David Jeremiah, encouraging you to get on the road to new life. Discover God's definition of stewardship on Route 66.
Route 66, driving the word home. Log on to Route66Life.com. Start your journey home today.
There is no other radio show where you'll be able to express yourself without hearing, "We thank you for your call," and before you make your point. That's what Ringside Politics with a Punch is all about. Give Jeff Crouere a call at 556-9696.
Hey, welcome back. Email address is jeff@wgso.com, and Steve Sabadowski with us. Ringside All-Star checks in with us on Tuesday, publisher of BayouBuzz.com. Hey, Steve Ray is writing in saying, Jeff, who's this guy, Steve, on your show this morning? He's nothing but a Landrieu cheerleader. You want to respond to that?
Well, I did say, I mean, look, why is it that if somebody brings up an issue that you disagree with, you automatically, cast that person as being on the other side? Didn't I just say that what I thought about what Landrieu did and the questions I think that ought to be asked about what happened? So, that's absolutely, that's absurd. People need to get off this, this whole issue about us versus them. This is just terrible.
504-556-9696. Let's get some calls in, and we go to Paul in Lakeview. All right, Paul, what's happening? Good morning.
Okay, fine. I'll say this. Whenever Mary Landrieu says in debate that Cassidy is a millionaire and represents millionaires, does she ever look at herself in a mirror? She lives in a $2.5 million mansion. When she says these things, it makes me wonder. Now, the animal rights people are supporting her because we don't want to kill the dogs and cats, but we can kill the babies, abortion. So there's a lot of things. This election has been die-cast many, many months ago. If Landrieu pulls this off, she's a miracle worker. And she knows she can't pull it off. All the polls show her losing by, 3-4 percentage points. I think Jeff said there was a poll that showed her losing by 10 or more percentage points.
I've seen one where she's behind 16 points.
Really?
So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Are they reliable polls?
Pretty reliable. Rasmussen, okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, because I didn't learn anything new from the debate last night. Did you?
Was there a winner? I only saw excerpts of it. Was there a winner or a loser?
I don't think anybody, I don't know if the questions that were asked were slanted to one candidate more than another. But I don't you think people have made up their minds who they're going to vote for weeks ago?
I think a lot of them have, Paul.
Yeah,
wouldn't you say, Steve? A lot of people have already made up their minds. There are not a lot of undecided voters out there, are there?
I don't think so. I think what Landrieu did was to try to play to her traditional Democratic base, and if she is successful and I don't think she will be, but if she is successful in generating a better turnout, then I think the debate helped. There were no knockout punches, but she was able to get the information out about Cassidy's records and to beat it. Cassidy, I think, did a very good job. It depends on who you wanted, and you're going to most likely say, oh, well, my candidate won. I mean, that's the way it always happens.
Kathy writes in, Jeff, Democrats are desperate. Even if no timesheets were signed, Cassidy is a proven giver with a track record. He and his wife, Democrats are deceitful, dishonest, and desperate. Senator Landrieu has become a liberal elitist taker, and she is, after all, a Democrat first. That's what Kathy says. Let's bring on James in Metairie and get his view. Hey, James, good morning, sir.
Well, Jeff, good morning to you, and Steve, hi also. First of all, a couple of things I want to touch on, Jeff, if I can. Cassidy, in essence, is a Medicaid doctor. He portrays himself as working with the poor and minorities. I applaud him for that. But, folks, he was very, very well compensated, about $170,000 a year for, 20 years, 25 years, whatever it was, Jeff, plus those extra income, which he apparently did not properly account for, as it is alleged. Now,
Right.
I do hope they get a subpoena for that, as Mary Landrieu said. That was an interesting comment.
I want to get to the bottom of it. I want it all to be released.
I'll tell you another thing I want to get to the bottom of just in just a second, Jeff.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a Medicaid doctor, so again, he's not.
But I'm glad you commending him for working with the poor, and I think he's done a lot of pro bono work.
All right, so now Jeff, this morning, Steve, I don't know if you were listening, but we have prima facie evidence, proof that so-called black conservatives like Elbert Guillory is a useful idiot for white conservative male racist. Did you hear, Steve? This white male conservative male racist by the name of Mark Traina, who is a disgraced Jefferson Parish school psychologist who tweeted a few years ago that young black thugs need to be put down like the dogs they are. This guy who runs he's the CEO of the National Association for the Advancement of White People, said that he wanted to wash the feet of Elbert Guillory. Elbert Guillory is an official, useful idiot for white conservative racists. And one more thing. This whole voter fraud, Jeff, you've been saying voter fraud, voter fraud.
Yeah, right. I'm worried about it.
I want Elbert Guillory to be subpoenaed by the Attorney General or an appropriate authority to go under oath and present the evidence for his this purely fictional and I think fraudulent claim. 10% of the votes for Mary Landrieu last time were voter fraud.
That's what he said.
About 100,000, Jeff. That's about 100,000 votes.
Mm-hmm.
She had 98,000 votes in her successful campaign in 2008. I want Elbert Guillory, the useful idiot, to be subpoenaed.
What do you make of the video clip he presented? You're not talking about that, James.
I'll talk about it.
A mayor of Opelousas. So that's pretty shameful, I think.
Yep, I'll talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as Steve suggested, that's not a serious thing. That's like a pro-life meeting where somebody says, "Hey, let's go kill an abortion doctor." Yuck, yuck, yuck. Okay, it's not.
That would be a national news story if someone joked about that.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. This is not. This was, as the lady said, it was in a group. I'm sure mostly black people. The guy was. If people want to do stuff like that, Jeff, they're not going to do it out in the open. Okay,
They're not going to do it out in the open. I'm just saying what I saw. I'm just saying what I saw, and I definitely felt when I said, "My God, this is just stupid." And then also I thought immediately was, this is cynical. This is horrible because of the fact that it's obvious the guy is joking because also the people laughed afterwards.
They were also yelling and screaming and hooping and hollering. I mean, they were agreeing with him. They were saying, "Yeah, voter fraud. Yeah, vote often. Yeah, we got the DA in our pocket. Yeah."
If you have evidence that this guy, the Opelousas mayor, went and conspired with these people.
He encouraged people to vote early, vote often.
Come on.
He did. It's on video. You're the one taking the video clip and saying, "Oh, he was joking." I'm not saying his words and what he encouraged people to do.
No.
Based on what he encouraged people to do. Vote early and vote on election day.
You're putting words in my mouth, Jeff.
You're saying, he was joking. You're dismissing what he did. He went on there. He went into a rally, encouraged people to vote twice.
Jeff, what I said was that is the way that I interpreted it.
Yeah,
okay?
You're giving the benefit of the doubt to someone who's a Landrieu supporter.
To me, it was very obvious what happened, and to me, it was very obvious that this tool. Meaning Guillory. No, wait. No, I agree. I totally agree. And I was thinking about the same thing earlier today. Mr. Guillory, go under oath and tell us, you have the information. Go under oath and tell us.
I'm very disappointed. I'm disappointed in you. I'm disappointed in you that you're just so willing to brush aside and claim the guy was joking.
No,
an elected official,
that was my opinion.
Hold on.
That's my opinion, Jeff. That he was
a very prominent Democrat. His son is Landrieu's chief of staff.
It was absolutely stupid.
These are connected, very powerful African-American Democrats. Before a big rally, telling people, if you voted early, no big deal, vote again on election day, saying the DA is in our pocket. That, to me, is shocking and offensive and very troubling.
And it's stupid, okay? But how do you know he wasn't joking? I don't know. That was my impression.
Well,
That's
you know
all
what?
I'm saying.
You know how we can find out? By investigating, Steve.
Okay, fine. Yeah,
Sending
investigate.
somebody from the Louisiana Attorney General's office to investigate.
That's fine with me. Investigate, and let's get Mr. Guillory up there to tell us about the 10% that he knows of. Okay, and then all the other. Look,
what I'm trying to do is get the Secretary of State on here to address my concerns about voter fraud.
Get them to investigate Landrieu. Get them to investigate.
All right, let me ask you this:
Get them to investigate
Do you have an audio tape of a Cassidy supporter encouraging people to break the law? I mean, do you have any audio tape of a Cassidy supporter joking about that? If you do, present it.
I have audio tape and videotape of politicians, whether it's Bobby Jindal or President Obama, who are giving speeches. Okay, and excuse me for a second.
He's advocating law breaking.
I already said I think it was stupid, but advocating something involves intent. Now, if you can prove to me that he intentionally was telling these people in that audience,
you know
get out there and break this law.
Troubling. Okay? It's troubling enough. It needs to be investigated.
It's stupid. It should be investigated.
That's your
Guillory also. I mean, here is
Steve.
Excuse me.
Guillory needs to be commended. Guillory is showing courage for bringing this forward. Okay?
Oh, really? Is he?
Yes,
is he?
really. Yes, really.
Okay. And the statements that Guillory has made.
Let's investigate him. Let's investigate. Sure. I'm worried about voter fraud.
Let Guillory go under oath about the voter fraud. That's fine with me.
I'm sure he'd be willing to. I'm sure he'd be willing to do that.
Give us a document.
All right.
Tell us what he knows.
All right. We've got to take some more calls. 504-556-9696. Let's go next to Rick in Metairie. Hey, Rick. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I've been listening to y'all arguing. I think what we ought to do is pass a law. Anyone caught voter fraud gets their driver's license suspended for 5 years, lose their driving privilege.
Put in jail for life.
Hey, Steve, hang on, Steve. Let some callers get some views in, all right?
All right,
go ahead, Rick.
Anyway, I got, one illegal is going to cost us more than $20,000 a year if that's what Cassidy got. So I'm not worried about that. All right, well, the main reason I called is what's going on today. Every time I turn on Fox News, all I hear about is this rioting and everything over here, and then the president with Eric Holder and these race baiters. I mean, here we got a president that is a daggone racist president, an attorney general that's a racist bigot, and here they are running our country into the ground. We got more race tensions in this country right now than we had back in the 50s.
Yes, sir. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate it. That's Rick in Metairie. Let's roll on to squeeze in a few. Let's go to Noel in Destrehan. Hey, Noel. Hey, how you doing, my friend? Nolan. I think it's Nolan in Destrehan. Hey.
He's a little bit delusional. Their whole party with the racism and all that is based on hate thoughts, mind thoughts, and then he's going to come out and this guy verbally says, I want to see you people vote twice, you people, and then they're going to come out and say, oh, they just joking. I mean, it just can't go two ways. Delusional, Steve. You're delusional.
Nolan, let me ask you. Yeah, wait, hold on. Let me ask you. Did you see the video?
Yes.
Okay. And you.
There's nothing to see. It's just I
understand that. Okay, but I just want to make sure that you saw the same thing I saw.
Try to divert back, and you could try to.
I'm just telling what I saw.
But darling, it stinks. The guy's saying. Vote twice.
Stupid.
Whether he's serious or joking, he said it. And some people, if other people who are listening to him will say, well, he was just joking, but I'm going to do it. It's like the guy, like Steve Brown's dad saying, burn the city down. Oh, well, he was just joking. You're going to say he was just joking? He said it, darling. He said it. Wake up and get concrete. I mean, this abstract thinking of liberals, it's driving me crazy. The people of Ferguson, look at their logic. I actually think they think this cop is guilty, and they just don't listen. They divert stuff. It's just no logic. Anyway.
All right, my friend. Hey, Nolan, good to hear from you. It's been a while. That's Nolan in Destrehan. Let's bring on someone who has been very involved working with Senator Guillory. He's working with the Black Conservatives Fund. Our good friend Captain Black checking in with us. Hey, Cap, good morning.
Greetings, fellow hostages.
Greetings, Captain.
In the spirit of the mayor of Opelousas, by all means, vote early and vote often.
Okay.
You know, I have to agree with Steve and you. I know a rarity.
Okay.
The political lore, but what do you treated them to do? Unless you can prove that people have gone and done it, which would have to, of course, be projected forward after December 6th, then you can't say that a crime has been committed. And I also agree with you, Jeff, that the fact that an elected official whose son just happens to be the chief of staff for the incumbent he's campaigning for would make that statement seems shocking to the general public, but having grown up in the failed Soviet client state that regrettably Black America's become, that's commonplace. It's only a big deal because it was captured on video. But you have a group of folks who think that we're slaves, the rules don't apply to us, anything we can do to avenge ourselves, we should do, and this is the result you get. And like Senator Guillory said in the video, instead of laying out some sort of record of tangible gains for black voters, he said, no, hey, just go ahead, vote, don't worry about it. The DA has got your back. That's how a lot of folks in the community see it. They feel like all they can do is, hustle, connive for crumbs off the table. If a little voter fraud and treaty is thrown in, they feel that the weight of history justifies it.
Hey,
it's sad.
Cap, we talked to the Secretary of State's office. They said that the Secretary of State can't comment on it because a formal complaint hasn't been made. I made a formal complaint with them. So hopefully they'll investigate. We need to get to the bottom of it and find out whether he was joking or serious and whether there has been any voting fraud. Don't you think we need an investigation?
Look, the Voting Rights Act, under which every southern state has to comply, was not because people were just, passively dissuading, going to certain communities and say, hey, guys, don't vote in this upcoming election. No. We have a history of fraud. Whether it's Republicans or Democrats, whether they call themselves liberals or conservatives, regrettably in the southern body politic, and I'm just talking about the South particularly, everywhere else has fraud too, but this is the only region of the country, and I think some parts of Boston, that actually has a Voting Rights Act. And the same way you can apply it to the modern conservative is the same way you can apply it to the modern liberal, if you see cause. We all want the ballot to have some integrity. Otherwise, what's the point?
Exactly. Exactly. And that's why we need to make sure that happens on Saturday. All right, my friend, always great to hear from you. That's Cap Black. And, of course, want to let people know there's going to be a meeting tonight of the Home Defense Foundation. It's going to be coming up at 7 o'clock at the location that they normally have, and I'll announce that location in a minute. But just to let people know, meeting tonight of the Home Defense Foundation. Captain Black will be there, Mike Weinberg, and others. It's the first Tuesday of every month that the Home Defense Foundation meets. All right, I've got another special guest who's going to be joining us, but Steve will try to squeeze in another quick call or two here. Let's go next to our good friend Phil the Patriot. Hey, Phil, how are you? Good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning, brothers. This is greatly blessed to be on the air with y'all today. Now, listen up, brothers. I got a message for David Vitter and for this so-called gentleman on the air with Jeff today. There are none so dumb as those that refuse to learn. There's none so blind as those that refuse to see. And there's none so deaf as those that refuse to listen. I don't like two-faced people at all. I want you to know something, brothers and sisters. Something else is going on. Far beyond what y'all are talking about right now. I just heard a few hours ago, I think it was, that 4 youths took claw hammers and beat somebody to death over this issue in Ferguson. Those people out there need to be arrested for inciting a riot. The media is magnifying this thing. Barack Obama is magnifying the spirit of murder. All of these people are working together to destroy our country and destabilize everything through Operation Executive Disorder. Oh, don't worry about the integrity of your vote. Because if you like it, you can keep it. Oh, don't worry about the integrity and the safety of your homes, your jobs, your hospitals, and your cities. Barack Obama's here to help us. Don't you know that? Just like this guy sitting next to Jeff. Ah!
Phil the Patriot. And he's not sitting next to me. We're connected via Google Hangout. Steve, there's a little bit of an echo. We're trying to deal with that with the audio. 504-556-9696. Let's try to squeeze another call and get back to Steve. Let's see who's next with us. Let's go to Mike from Gretna. What's going on, Mike? Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Jeff, and good morning, Steve. As always, enjoy the conversation between the two of you. It's always interesting. Listen, Steve, you're absolutely right. I agree with you 100% about one thing. This business of we demonize each other when we disagree with each other. You just had an example of that when James called up and disagrees with this guy, the Senator Guillory. So what does he do? He attacks him. He calls him a useful idiot. Okay, that's number one. Number two, and why do we have this climate today? I'll tell you why. Because, for example, when if we try to say something, for example, about the anointed one, the regime, the head of the regime in Washington, what happens is we're racists. We're branded racist when we disagree with him. So, what's good for the goose is not good for the gander. But the other thing is this business about this craven idiot. Let me say this to you. It is ironic to me that the very group that screams about voter ID is the very same group that is joking about voter fraud. And listen, I've not seen the video. I've only heard snippets.
Right.
I don't know if he was voting. If he was joking, he may very well have been. That in this racial climate, anybody heard of Ferguson, Missouri lately? Where buildings, 25, 30 buildings were burned down because of racial unrest, and this moron gets up, if he is joking, he gets up and he jokes about voter fraud. What else do we need? This guy should be recalled immediately. He should be recalled.
And whether he wasn't joking or he was joking, either way, it's despicable, wouldn't you say, Mike? I mean,
absolutely.
To be joking about something like that?
I know many black people in this community who lived through Jim Crow.
Right.
And if you tried to joke with them, they would understandably be very upset.
Right.
And I would be with them about Jim Crow. Well, hey, what was going on then? Voter fraud was going on there. People were being denied the right to vote by evil men. That's not something you joke about publicly.
Well said, my friend. That's Mike in Gretna. Let me give Steve a chance to respond. Steve, go ahead.
Thank you. I think it was just stupid. I think it was really stupid. If we had the video and we saw, his face when he was saying this, and through the whole process, and if you look really serious, okay, then I think we could make a much greater argument that he was really serious and he was fomenting this opportunity for them to go ahead and engage in voter fraud. Yeah, I think he should be investigated. I think the guy he was just stupid. Absolutely stupid. And Mike is right. In this type of environment, how in the world could somebody do something that's stupid? But for you or me to say what he actually thought and why he did it, when we
don't
didn't
know.
see the video, we don't know.
And that's investigate.
And yeah. Sure.
All right, let's bring on one more quick caller. We only have about a minute. Adam, I want to give you the final word here with Steve Selbadowski. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Jeff. Good morning, both of you. Jeff, I believe to characterize the comments, the sickening comments of the Mayor Opelousas as a joke is the real joke. It's the joke of the day. It takes a leftist hack to dream up an excuse for this type of behavior as being a joke. And
nobody.
Excuse me?
Steve, let him make his comment and then we'll give you a chance to respond. Adam, quickly. Okay. I think we lost Adam. Steve, we have less than a minute. Go ahead. Your thoughts.
Sure.
Adam
Jeff
says, hey, only a liberal hack would rush to the defense of somebody like that, believing it to be a joke.
again, well, believing it to be a joke and defending him are two different things. Okay, again, that was my reaction. I have no reason to believe that he wasn't joking, that he wasn't mocking, okay, the very people who are criticizing, the very people who are charging, like Mr. Guillory, charging that there's voter fraud in the black community, in the Democrats all the time, okay. I think he was mocking that. That's what I think.
Probably not the best idea as far as to go on the comedy circuit to be doing that right before an election and to be doing it now in a very charged atmosphere. Hopefully we'll get some answers. Steve, we got to roll. We went overtime. Thanks so much. As always,
thank you so much.
A whole lot more to get to in our final segment. It's Ringside right here on WGSO.